Good morning, everybody. It's good to be here with you this morning. This is the Soulution Live Show, where we take you from struggle to success so that you can have the rest of your life be the best of your life. And I'm your host, Jody Almond, and I'm excited to be with you this morning and cannot wait to jump into this final teaching today on how to develop healthy habits for your life. Because let's be honest, we all have habits in our life. As a matter of fact, let me ask you a question. Are you ready? What is the first thing you do in the morning when you wake up? Is it A, you hit the snooze button, B, you check your cell phone, or C, maybe you pray? What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? You know, when you're waking up and the alarm clock goes off, and do you reach over and do you hit the snooze button to give yourself 10 more minutes? Because that becomes a habit. Or do you check your cell phone? Do you just lay there in bed, look and scroll through Facebook, scroll through Instagram, scroll through your emails? What do you do? Or maybe you're like a lot of people I know, and the first thing you do is, you just lie there, you close your eyes again, and you begin to pray and thank God for another day and ask him to give you blessing and favor on your day. You see, William Makepeace Thackeray said this. He said, successful people aren't born that way. They become successful by establishing the habit of doing things unsuccessful people don't like to do. So I believe there's a lot of truth in that successful people aren't born successful. None of us were born successful. We become that way by doing habitual acts and creating good habits in our life that unsuccessful people will not do. So, for example, hitting the snooze button isn't the best thing to do in the morning. Checking your cell phone first thing in the morning is one of the worst things you could do. Praying would be a good, successful habit, knowing you need God's help to get you through the day. You see, what I want to talk to you today about is we need to become the Sherlock Holmes of our life. I've watched that movie several times that was created a few years ago, me and my daughter, and we enjoy watching it because Sherlock Holmes was such a great detective in his day. You see, good habit forming is an ongoing process that requires constant evaluation and assessment of your accomplishments. It would include evaluating the things that might be holding you back. You see, when you begin to inspect, which is the last thing I want to talk to you about, you have to inspect your life. You have to be willing to take the time to realize that you have both good and bad habits in your life all the time. And so you have to be able to look into yourself, right? You have to be able to self-evaluate. You have to be able to self-reflect, self-introspect. You see, the reason you want to do that is because you want to see the perception of progress and see what's going on in your life. You want to look at and see where you need to change. And so if you're realizing that every morning, see, you probably have never even thought about it. What do I do every morning when I wake up? Do I hit the snooze button 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Well, here's the thing. A lot of you are struggling with time, right? So what if you created the habit of, when my clock goes off in my mind, it's an emergency. I have to wake up. I have to create this habit, this mentality that I have to wake up so that I can use that extra 30 minutes I'm hitting my snooze button every morning to get something valuable accomplished, or to spend a little quiet time with my Creator. You see, today, my friend, what I want you to understand is that when you take the time to evaluate, to inspect your life, to look at your habits, to become the Sherlock Holmes of your own life and take a magnifying glass and look over yourself and begin to pay attention to what you're doing, what you're saying, your habits, both good and bad, and you eliminate those ones that you feel like are wasting your time, or worse, requires so much of your energy that it distracts you, that it is destroying and sabotaging your success. You see, you can use this time right now you can use today as a new day, and you can forge ahead with good habits that will last long after you get started today. Because remember, if you can just do it for 21 days, it becomes a habit. If you can keep it up for 90 days, and I know you can, that's when it becomes a lifestyle. And I'm not here to help you create good habits. I'm here to help you create a successful lifestyle, a lifestyle of success. You see, I don't want to let yourself get discouraged because you've got this. You can do this. You don't have to keep dealing and struggling and meandering around with the bad habits in your life that you don't even recognize most of the time because you don't even inspect yourself. You see, there's all kinds of bad habits people do. I've seen it. People will be biting their nails because they're nervous, and their spouse will say, "Would you please quit biting your nails?" And they say, "Oh, I didn't even realize I was doing it." I've seen people that chew, and when they chew, they smack with their mouth open. And to some people, that's very annoying. And they'll say, "Please don't chew your food with your mouth open like that and smack. It drives me crazy." They say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't realize I was doing it." You see, some habits aren't life-threatening, but some habits are very annoying. And so we need to recognize our habits. What are our bad habits? Is it that we're hitting the snooze button? Is it that we're spending hours on social media? Did you know your cell phone, if you have an Apple anyway, it can tell you how much time you're spending on what apps? Did you know that there's ways to check that? Did you know you can just do it consciously, because subconsciously you're not thinking about it. You're just mindlessly scrolling through social media, and you don't realize that you're spending possibly 3 to 5 hours a day on social media. But then when you get with a coach like me, you begin complaining about, "My gosh, Jody, I don't have time to do everything I need to do." Why? Because you have a bad habit. You have a bad habit. And I know we think of the bad habits as smoking, drinking, drugs, porn, all these things, but sometimes the bad habits are right under our nose, and we just don't take the time to inspect them. What you need to do is do what they did in the military with me. You see, when I was back in boot camp, I remember a time where we had cleaned our barracks, and they were very spotless in our minds, until the drill sergeant came in with a white glove, a literal white glove inspection. And let me tell you, we knew we had this kicked. But you know what happened? He began to check in places we didn't expect. He checked the air vents. He pulled the air vent out and run his finger and it said, "Look at all this dust." He checked in places we wouldn't imagine. You see, the problem is in our life, my friend, we're seeing everything we see because we think our life is pretty good, and we don't understand why we can't get more success in our life, why we can't achieve greater success. But could it be that we're not looking under the beds of our life, looking in the closets, looking behind the air vents? When I say do an inspection, that's why I use the analogy of Sherlock Holmes. Inspect your life today. Do an investigation. Start it today and say, what is in my life that is a bad habit that is hindering, destroying, sabotaging my success? I love what Sean Covey says, and he says, depending on what they are, our habits will either make us or break us. We become what we repeatedly do. I know without a doubt you have to agree with that statement. It's been my joy and my pleasure to talk to you on the Soulution Live Show about how to create better habits in your life. And so today I want to see you break the bad habits and develop and create good habits that are sustainable for your success. My friend, know this, as every day I tell you, I want you to be blessed, and I'm praying for your success. You have a great weekend, and we'll talk again soon. God bless, my friend.